Welcome to another edition of All Octaves with me, Val Kleinhans. Super excited to welcome Good Morning Bedlam. Isaac and Victoria are here today. I am thrilled to chat with both of you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, our pleasure. We're so excited to be here as well.
I know when I first hit them up for an interview, they were like, "Oh yeah, we already know who you are." I'm like, "How does Good Morning Bedlam know who I am?" Because I'm like, this is so cool. So I'm really thrilled. I'm really honored. I guess the beginning is as good as place as any to start. How did Good Morning Bedlam come to be?
Yeah, so I actually started this band about a little over 7 years ago now. I started it with the original violin player and Sophia, and she just had her farewell show a week ago tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
In Rochester. So she just stepped down, but I started with her 7 years ago. And Tori's been around since the beginning as well. When I started the band, we were just dating. And basically Tori would come along and she'd sell the merch and she would make sure we didn't die.
Yeah.
That's how it always starts. That's how it always starts, the merch girl.
Yeah. And she would also get up on stage and sometimes sing certain songs when we had longer sets and that kind of thing. And then off the bat, we also had not long after we started the band, we had a friend that we also grew up with, friends that played banjo and upright bass join us as well. And so the four of us were all from Rochester, Minnesota. And we started playing music together and we did our first ever tour about a year in. We did 8 weeks because we didn't know that apparently you shouldn't go on an 8-week tour when you've never really gone touring at all.
Wow.
And that was actually, we left for that just 10 days after Tori and I got married.
Oh,
and
wow.
Tori came along. She was like, I'm not going to stay at home. So she came along and basically after that tour was over, our bass player left for college and Tori was like, I really want to be in Good Morning Bedlam. I was like, well, we should just buy a bass. So we went out and we bought a bass. And then in November of
2016.
Yeah, what? 2017. In November 2017 or December of 2017, Tori started learning the bass. And then a month later, that next January, she played her first show.
It was December 2016 and then January 2017 because that's the year I graduated.
Okay. Well,
then I played my first show in January.
I don't want to argue about this on the podcast.
I was like, we're like, whoa.
But you're actually wrong. You started your junior year.
I did. Oh,
this is why I love having couples on this podcast. I've done it before. Like I've had the Terrells on before. I've had the Conways on before. It's the same energy, same vibe. I'm completely here for it. I really am.
completely forgot.
But basically, that's kind of how we got our start.
Yeah.
And then in May of 2018, we decided to go full time. And we've been doing just music for 4.5 years now, a little over 4.5 years.
Wow.
And it's been kind of crazy. We also had eventually our banjo player stepped down, and then we eventually actually ended up adding a trumpet player about a year ago. And he plays trumpet and keys. His name's Dawson. And then this last August, when Sophie decided she was going to be stepping down, we ended up hiring a new violin player, Catherine Seeger. And so Kat's been with us since August, actually. And then we planned a big farewell show for Sophia, and she came back for one show here.
Oh, wow.
At a Rochester hometown show, and it was really, really fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of the short history of us.
Family vibe. I mean, I've been to the events and I'm like, you guys do pack a crowd here in Rochester. Like that is fact. That undisputable. Well, so Isaac, do you remember the moment when you were like, oh, Tori can sing and I want to do something with this?
The day I met her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's kind of when we first started hanging out. We would always like learn cover songs and sing together. And Tori's always been the best singer in Good Morning Bedlam, even before she was in the band. Very musical. But the issue is that just we needed more instruments. And so we just couldn't
Mm.
figure out how to justify having somebody who could only sing.
Mhm.
And so once the bass player stepped down, you know, that's an instrument that you can at least for folk music, because as a folk guitarist, I only know like 4 chords. So there's no reason you can't learn bass for those 4 chords. Rather than, of course, you can't learn violin in a year or trumpet in a year or, you know, something like that. And so it was a great way for us to kind of come together as like the main singers of the band and the main storytellers of the band
Mhm.
on the guitar and the bass as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is awesome. So we're not talking specifically about electric bass, right? I've seen acoustic
No.
bass or both.
Just for right now, it's just upright bass. But actually, for Christmas, I did get an electric bass, so I'm very excited.
Ooh.
Yeah, just to learn both. Because since I started on the upright acoustic bass, that's all I know. And now kind of being able to do both would be really fun during the show to have both different sounds. And it's been a lot of fun to play around on. So it's good.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I was taking a listen to as much as I could earlier, and I was like, you guys really don't limit yourselves to one specific genre. I mean, you chose the folk label, but that's not the vibe that I instantly got when I took a listen. I got like, oh, I'm getting a little bit of 80s, I'm getting a little bit of pop influence here. I'm getting a little bit of more than just the folk vibe. So how do you describe your sound in your own words?
Yeah. That's always hard. I feel like we say folk or indie folk, or like folk rock sometimes,
Mhm.
but the truth is, I think that we all have very different influences. That's something that we love as a band, that we're all unique people and unique musicians, and we just try to serve the song. So whatever the song calls for, whether like we have a song coming up that's been really fun to play, that has like a Latin beat. We have another song coming up that we're playing that sounds like Sufjan Stevens. Like there's just, we just let the songs that we write, lead us in how we write and what textures we want to use. And something that's been really, really fun for us as a team is Isaac will he writes the majority of the music. So he'll kind of bring in a skeleton of how he sees the song going, or kind of lyrics and chord structure. But then as a group, we say, okay, what's working here and what's not? And then also, where could we go? And what are all the different avenues we can go down and explore? And I think that, yeah, that's why on Lulu, we did a lot of that before we went to the studio.
The record?
Yeah, the record Lulu. We did a lot of that before we even recorded. And then we did so much of that when we got into the studio with Zach Zern at Carpet Booth. He's
in Rochester.
Shout out Zach.
Down.
And we say it all the time, like he feels like a 5th band member, in that he'll take.
He's like a 5th member in a crap ton of bands. He really is.
Yeah. He just has such a gift for like taking a song, and being so gentle with it and vulnerable, and seeing what it needs and giving it that right flavor and that right spice. And he's so like, he's just as excited about our weirdness as we are. So I never feel like he's trying to pigeonhole us as oh, this is your sound. Cause it's always like, wait, are you like folk pop, or this song is folkier, this song is poppier, this song is a circus, I don't know, like, so
yeah. Well, people try to do that. A lot of people do. Fans, the music industry itself, the business side of it, they try to pigeonhole artists into one particular genre, one particular area. They try to do direct comparisons to specific artists or specific bands. I can't do that with you guys, because when I listen to you, I'm like, no, they really have done their own thing and found their own sound. What do you think it takes to just find your own original sound as a band?
I think a short attention span.
And yeah.
I think it's good I think one thing we really try to do in Good Morning Bedlam is to always ask ourselves, like, not has it already been done, but like, have we already done it?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we bored with it? Are we over it? Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes like when I'll listen to records or listen to like kind of the evolution of where a band went, that like bands that I love, I'll like find certain records where I'm like, all these songs sound the same. Like, doesn't that
Yeah.
bother you that it seems like you wrote the same song like
Mhm.
7 times? And some people, that must be just like how they like to express themselves. They're like, well, I'm going to take this idea and I'm going to just try it, nuancing, different nuances of that throughout different songs. But I just don't feel that way. And so often when I'm listening to music, I like to be like, I wonder if I could do that.
Yeah.
I'm never going to, like, I think one example is we have this song called I Am Sad. And
Oh, are you back?
Good. Yep, I'm here.
oh, okay.
I'm just listening. Yep.
So at the end of that song, there is kind of this kind of rock breakdown that happens, but it's all using it's drums, but then it's upright bass, it's acoustic guitar, it's violin, it's piano, but it's still really big and all these big layers. And that idea is stolen from metal music.
Mm-hmm.
Of
Right.
like
The
hearing that.
layering.
Yeah, and I grew up playing in metal bands in high school and middle school. And when I moved into the folk scene, the thing I really missed about it was the energy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when I first moved into the folk scene, and I'm like, oh, there's just too many people standing on the stage with their chord sheets. Like, why are your chord sheets in front of you? Like it's only 4 chords. Like, learn your own music and just like
You don't need them.
which can be beautiful. Some people do it beautifully. But I just miss that like audience, like electricity, even when audiences were really engaged. And so energy has been a really big part of what we do because we love getting that electric feedback from audience members. And so like that was a song where, well, this is a concept from that type of music. It's not going to sound like it, but that's it. 100% where that idea came from. And I just always like trying to figure out like, well, what if we were to do that?
Right.
And I think one thing that keeps it uniquely us, at least when I'm writing, is like, I am just not musically proficient at like knowing why things work the way they work.
Yeah.
Enough to be like, well, this is a jazz song and this is how jazz songs work. Like, I just listen to a jazz song and I say like, okay, well, if I was going to try to emulate that, it would sound like this. So it doesn't end up coming out a jazz tune. It just comes out like our personalities. If we were kind of like paying, just like tipping our hat to a jazz song. And so we're not actually trying to accomplish those different genres or different things. We just love music and we like to try different ideas that are really inspiring.
Yeah. Has that willingness to experiment and try different things, has that maybe led to trying out different instruments along the way too?
Definitely some. One thing that I've always really liked about what we've done is keeping it kind of tight as far as the instrumentation choice, because then you get to hear like the same instruments try different kinds of things from song to song. But honestly, when we got to our 3rd record, Lulu, which we released about 10 months ago.
That's the most recent one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thought so.
When we recorded that one, we really branched out instrument wise. And so we have certain core instruments that are in there that are the ones that we play in the band, and then drums. But I think I personally have become a lot more open to different types of instruments and those kinds of things, which has been fun.
And I mean, that was in the production of Lulu, that was what really made it clear to us that we needed trumpet and we needed keys. So Dawson, there, he plays both of those. And it has been just, it's been a lot of fun. It's been like, oh, we have so many more colors to paint with, even on stage. And now Kat, or Catherine, but I call her Kat, our new violin player, like she plays a lot of different instruments. Her main one is violin, but we're also looking forward to maybe in the future having people switch around and having multiple instruments on stage and just it all takes time. It all takes coordination.
Yeah, but like you said, it's one extra color on the palette to use, so to speak, when you're creating the entire thing. One of those colors that I love, so to speak, are the harmonies itself, because that is sort of your signature thing. How do you perfect them? How do you guys like get in such sync?
Doing it a lot.
You have to sing so
Practice.
much together.
Yeah.
You know, when we started this band, I was a terrible singer. If you went back and you listened to like our first ever like a couple years of videos and music, like my voice was not great. And right before we went full time, we had hired a new banjo player. And about 2 days into the road, he was like, you know what? I don't want to do this. And I'm going to go home.
Oh boy.
I thought I wanted to be in a band, but I don't. And so he left, and we were going on this, we were playing First Avenue the next night.
Yeah.
Oh no, God.
And then we were on tour to South by Southwest.
Perfect time to leave a band. Perfect time.
And like at that point, along with the violin, the banjo really was kind of like our other electric guitar, you know, our lead instrument.
Yeah.
And so on our drive down every day on our way to Texas in the car, we just started taking our songs and saying like, okay, well, can we build harmonies? Because that's what we have.
Yeah.
So we just started like restructuring the vocals of all of the songs that we had and like trying to build out these huge harmonies. And over time, it just kind of became the thing we were known for, is like these really big, like really perfect harmonies. And it just comes from, you just have to do it so much.
Yeah. And I think harmony in particular, my favorite types of harmony are harmony that you hear it and you're like, oh, that's that band.
Like the Eagles. Every time I hear them, same thing.
But, oh yeah, that's their way of doing harmony. And I find that so fascinating that every voice, we all can do the same things, we all can hit the same notes, but all voices are so different. And that's something that's been really interesting, adding a new person, is being like, oh, they have such a different voice. And it's going to take, we've already put in a lot of work, because with Sophie, it's been years that we've been singing together, and I know exactly when she's going to breathe. I know exactly when she's slightly changing her tone, like how to morph to fit what she's doing. And like, I don't have to think about it. I was going to just do that. But with Kat, it's been really fun to kind of open up that process again and go like, okay, how much work does it take to really have that be muscle memory? And that's every time we play a show, we warm up a lot together beforehand. We do a lot of work together as far as singing goes. Obviously, Isaac and I have an advantage of living together.
Well, you can already read each other, but when somebody new comes in, it's like, I have a whole other range to try and match, or I have a whole other range to try and incorporate here. Or maybe I'm wrong. Was that the case with that transition?
Yeah. And also like Kat, I feel like she has a lot of unlocked potential, and she's just such a dogged person. Like she's so excited to sing with us, which has been really fun. And I don't know, I also, some about our harmonies, something to add is we used to just not know how to do it.
How did you learn?
We're not technical. And so we'd write these harmonies out. And then like for the last album, for Lulu, we brought in, a bunch of the songs that we've been playing out for a while.
Or a few songs.
And Zach heard them. He goes, you're singing a harmony, but you're singing it over the wrong chord. Like, we have no idea. So it's been fun since we've been working with Zach, like I feel like our ability to build harmony has gotten a lot sharper. And also sorry if I'm going on too long, but when it comes to vocals, when it comes to a lot of things in this band that make us Good Morning Bedlam, I feel like they came out of like pressure from something lacking. Like everything special about our music now, I think, came from kind of like these moments of, what do we do? How do we make this band work? Or like, how do we make this song work? And a lot of like the beautiful things that make Good Morning Bedlam special have come out of like desperation. Like,
Yeah, but there's something to be said to that. Like, I would have had no idea, just as a fan and as a listener. When I put you guys on, I'm like, oh, this is a great vibe. It's happy. We're on a tropical beach. It's a summer day. We're having a good time. Like, that's the feel that I get from the music. You would have no clue anything like that was going on behind the scenes. So is it intentional for you guys to set like a happy vibe with what you put out?
I think that, so my favorite band is the Avett Brothers. And one thing that Seth Avett always talks about is like, is just the idea of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Contrast?
Contrast or juxtaposition. And that's something I've become really obsessed with in like writing and creating. And so a lot of our songs have these really, really happy melodies and vibes because I write really, really sad songs.
Okay, got it.
And so it's like, I love to like take something that is, that feels devastating and like put it in something that doesn't feel that way.
And I would say also things have been changing in a sense, like for Sticks and Stones, the most recent single that we put out. I feel like that song was also you changing and saying like, that's something I always do. So in this song, it's actually just going to be carefree. It's actually just going to be happy.
No, because when I watched the Sticks and Stones video and I was like, this is a lot of fun. This could have been like maybe an episode of Euphoria or something, like, or at least the party scene of Euphoria. I'm like, I love this and I love the happy, bouncy feeling that I get from it. But there was a conscious choice to like, okay, maybe that's, the presentation, but it's deeper than that. There's more to it than that.
Absolutely.
Oh. So I heard that you actually funded Lulu through Kickstarter, and that speaks to your fan base. How do you build a fan base that loyal? My goodness.
I don't know. I don't know how it happened.
We just feel so lucky. I mean, a big part of that whole process, or something I took away from it, was I feel like a lot of artists, they go into crowdfunding or trying to raise money, like backing into it, kind of like, I'm so sorry I have to do this. But
oh yeah.
An attitude that we tried to go into this Kickstarter with was, we are so unbelievably excited to share this record, and we want people to be a part of it, and we want to share it. So having just like a positive outlook
of like, this is where we're going.
Yeah.
Want to come with us? And we were like, I do want to go with you.
34,000 people or whatever I think I read wanted to. Yeah.
And then we turned to each other and we're like, they really want to come with us. Like, I didn't think they were going to say yes. We were very surprised.
It was really encouraging, and also people were so sweet. We felt incredibly grateful for everyone's support, and it's been really fun. We recently, last couple months, we got the vinyl finally for people. And cool. So we send them out finally. But
well, that's good to know.
I know, but it was a really cool process. I think like a month before we did it, we were all really stressed about it. Like, oh no, why did we set our goal so high? Oh no.
We asked for $28,000. We should have asked for 2,000.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But it worked and it was genius. So it's been 10 months since Lulu. Is there anything else in the works? Is there anything new we can look forward to?
We just released a single in August, and we just got out of the studio recording another single.
Ooh,
and then we're going back to the studio next month. And we're hoping between all those sessions to maybe put out an EP this year. It's been such a crazy year with just how much we were on tour and how much we played, and
all our members changing.
We had member,
yeah. And a pandemic in there. Throw that in there too. No big deal.
And so a lot of this last month or two and the next month are really about, finding rest, and that's when you find creativity.
At least that's when we find creativity.
Yeah, I think it's pretty typical. It's like when you're out on the road and you're just like, every moment is go, you don't have time to sit alone and think like, oh, I'm thinking about this idea, this concept, And so that's been kind of fun to get back into this winter and just kind of see where it goes a little bit loosely than last time. We we're like, this is a record, these are the songs. And yeah, it's been a fun time. And we're looking forward to putting some new music out.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it too. Thank you so much, Isaac, Tori, sitting down with me, chatting about everything Good Morning Bedlam. Thank you so much, both of you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.